Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome, livestock friends, to this edition of Before the Bid podcast. And on Before the Bid podcast, we are doing the first goat sale podcast that we've done, so I'm very excited about that, and very excited to have my guest on here today. And he and I have talked quite a few times here over the last several days getting this set up, and just a great guy, 23-year-old young man that we're going to have on with us today. And he is a student at the University of Minnesota. He is in vet school at the University of Minnesota, so that kind of touches a really good place with me, with my dad being a vet as well, and so very excited about that. He's also a member of the Minnesota Livestock Judging Team. They've been raising kid goats at their place since 2008, and so just really made some strides and done some things that I think you're really going to want to hear about the embryos and the embryo projects and things like that. So excited about my guest here. They have a sale on Willoughby Sales, and it is going to be on May 24th, and they are calling it a New Era online sale. So today, I want to welcome to the podcast, I want to welcome Nick Pitlick from Jordan, Minnesota. And Nick, with everything that's going on and all the things changing and schools not being able to hold in session, how are you enjoying this online vet student thing?
Well, I tell you what, I hope my professors at the U don't listen to this podcast because, I'm kind of enjoying it in some aspects. I've been able to get out and definitely work goats and probably spend a lot more time, here with this situation outside, getting these goats ready than I would have been up at school. But with that, it's been challenging. Certainly for some classes in regards to my veterinary curriculum going forward as we're in our first year, trying to learn a foundation and a basis that everything gets built off of. There's a couple classes like anatomy or clinical skills, procedures that they teach you on an everyday basis. That's secondhand muscle memory in the clinics. Those classes are kind of hard to imitate 100% online. There's nothing that can quite replicate the hands-on learning how certain muscles, cut when we're dissecting them, or then basic procedures on restraining of a cat or a dog, or just, simple clinical skills that is going to be expected of us, come graduation here.
Right. So now you're having to do it all online. So it got to be a little bit difficult for you there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it requires a lot more time sitting down, staring at a computer. And, there's not a lot of us livestock people that definitely like to do that. We enjoy being outside, so it definitely coops you up, that's for sure.
Right. What made you want to go into vet school?
Oh, that's a great question, Andy. I think, being around the goats my entire life, I always had a passion for the livestock industry. And with that, as we got more competitive and started diving deeper into this embryo transfer, AI, and dabbling a little bit with the in vitro fertilization breeding techniques, I certainly wanted to keep being around the goats and the animals my entire life, and really find these kind of invasive breeding techniques that we've been using very exciting. And I definitely, my goal was to get through vet school and hopefully one day be a small ruminant, ET specialist. That's kind of been my whole goal and drive to get through vet school.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I was going to ask you what if you had any kind of specialty, but so you want to stay around you say the small animals, you want to stay around the goats and that sort of thing with the reproduction.
Yeah, so yeah, I want to specialize in kind of our small ruminants, our sheep and goats, and kind of strictly, either be in terms of the reproduction side or, on a big scale management consultation role, almost like they do in the swine and poultry veterinary medicine, where they're kind of more consulting these big, large scale commercial firms.
Oh, that's really neat. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, and so not only are you a vet student, which is got to be a whole lot of schooling and things to take on. I know I didn't want to go through that much school to to make it to be a vet. I probably should have, but I didn't. But along with that, you're also now an A.B.A. judge.
That is correct, Andy. As of last fall, I got certified by the American Boer Goat Association to be one of their represented judges that A.B.G.A shows throughout the country are able to pick through a list of, it's about, I would say, 45, 50 names throughout the country. This has kind of been a lifelong dream of mine, being in the A.B.G.A show world and growing up, showing all summer long. I definitely think these showmen look up to the judges that are evaluating their livestock, and these well-represented people that kind of automatically, by just being a judge, kind of surface to the top of the livestock industry. And so I think having that title, along with my name, I think, not only does that serve me as more credible, but I also think, it allows me to maybe help out and give back to maybe the industry that's given so much to me in my short-lived life as of right now. But certainly excited for the future, and really excited to get out and travel the country and look at goats in each part of the region. That's for sure.
Right, and you've done a little bit of judging already. Maybe not had an official boar show, but you've done a little bit of judging getting up to this point, right?
That is right. Before the whole COVID situation, as of January, I had about 6 gigs lined up down south, out west, and out east, kind of lined up through June to when my internship starts. But with the whole COVID situation here, it's kind of taken a step back, but I have been able to get one show under my belt there the first weekend in March in Illinois. But certainly, once this whole COVID situation kind of dies down, I certainly look forward to the future opportunities being an A.B.G.A judge will allow me to do. I certainly have, a big aspiration to be a well-known, respected judge across multiple species, like my uncle Scott Greiner out in Virginia. He's judged a lot of kind of the elite major stock shows for the market lambs and market steers, and I certainly have big shoes to fill, but one day would like to get there in terms of the goats. That's for sure.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Can you tell us just briefly what do you have to go through to be an A.B.A judge? Right.
Yeah. So they have a breed standard list. So there's a written test that involves a bunch of breed standards and anatomy of the boar goat. That's one segment of the certification school. Another segment is for our group, they had 8 evaluation classes that you were compared to with 3 official judges. So that segment took into account, and then also that you gave 6 sets of reasons on 6 of the 8 classes that you would have been scored on against the judges. So just kind of like any collegiate judging contest. you were scored against 3 official judges in terms of the placings and also the reasons. So there was kind of 3 segments all to that certification A.B.G.A school.
So very, very stressful, but yet in the end, very rewarding.
That is correct, Andy. It was a very good feeling, I can tell you that, when I got the call that they allowed me to be an A.B.G.A certified judge.
Right. Well, that's great. That's really cool. Tell us a little bit. Let's get into your program a little bit, and we'll lead up to this to talking about these goats that are in the Pitlick Boer Goats, a new era online sale, May 24th on Willoughby Sales. But first, let's tell us a little bit about the history. How did this thing get started to where now you're selling semen and selling embryos and doing some embryo transfer work on your own place?
Well, I think I can sound like a broken record here, but this was a 4-H project gone out of control, and it's gone way out of control. But I tell you what, we're enjoying every step of it, and certainly are appreciative to where we're at now from where we started. But it just kind of started with showing a couple market goats at the local county fair I would get from my grandfather down in Iowa. Kind of told my parents, I'm kind of enjoying this. This is fun. We should take the next step. Ended up buying a handful of bred does and kitted them out the spring of 2008. And then we started hitting the open show circuit. I wanted to show and keep showing more. And I tell you what, Andy, those first 2 years that we kind of got our head out there, big learning curves. And, I'm thankful and grateful for everyone who took their time, back when we were what we were, to kind of, coach me and teach me kind of the ropes and the aspects of raising livestock, because we all know, there's a lot of background and a lot of hard work into daily management that gets these animals ready on show day. And like I said before, it is a big learning curve when you're kind of just getting thrown to the wolves and kind of want to get your feet wet and get out there. But with that, we wanted to keep staying competitive. We wanted to keep improving year after year and, doing some more research. And I feel there was no better way to maximize our generation interval than to start implementing embryo transfer into our breeding program. I think we've been flushing goats since 2014. So it took us a few years to kind of take that extra hump, because it is, it is a little bit of how do I want to say this? Expensive jump to hop in right away into embryo transfer with,
right.
You're not being guaranteed anything.
Right.
But with that, shaping our embryo transfer program and learning and I think fine-tuning our techniques of preparing recips, preparing donors, to breeding donors on flush day, to management after, implantation. That's still being fine-tuned today. I tell you what, Andy, by no means does anybody ever have this perfected, because there are so many variables into Mother Nature. We just probably technically aren't supposed to be doing these type of techniques in livestock management, but that's all right, and that's the fun part about it. And we continue to improve in our embryo transfer program year after year.
Right. Who are some of those guys? I'll put you on the spot here just a little bit, but who are some of those people that helped you kind of get along the way here when you started and kind of to this point? Is there a couple of those people that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yeah, I tell you what, I have a big shout out. Thank you to Katie and Kathy Deemer from Hawkeye, Iowa, and John and Jackie Edwards. John and Jackie Edwards were our first embryologists, and Katie and Kathy Deemer, they really kind of took us under our wing and helped us through this whole embryo transfer process, as they kind of started about a year or two before us. But with that, they were having access to an embryologist from Texas coming up to their place to flush. So it was a really great opportunity to not only get our feet wet and get into this embryo transfer program, but to have reliable friends that we can count on to ensure, what we are doing is correct, and we're doing everything in our power to maximize our success when it comes to flush day. And so I tell you what, having trusted friends that are in it just as much as you are and want to see you succeed as much as you do really goes a long way, especially when you're learning on. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to Dr. Tad Thompson of Reproductive Specialty Group. We've been using him now the last 3 years when we've been flushing at our place. And I tell you what, I believe he's the best in the business. And, I think his results speak for that. And with that, I'm certainly excited to go out to his facility out in Indiana this summer and work for him. That is where my internship is going to take place this year, and very excited for that opportunity and to where, those long conversations on the road, excited to see where those take and the information I'm going to absorb from him this summer.
Well, that's really cool. Make sure when you get out here to Indiana that they call you a Boilermaker and instead of a Hoosier, okay?
Purdue all the way, because that's where Dr. Tad Thompson graduated from. So I can tell you that I will be repping Purdue over Indiana. That is for sure.
There you go. We'll get you a Purdue shirt, and you can wear it. You can wear it around.
I'd really enjoy that.
Yeah, well, that's great. We'll be excited to have you out here in Indiana. So, Nick, who else helps you there in the family? Is this all you? Is this who else helps you right there with your program?
Yeah, so we have my mother, who helps me a lot in terms of all the paperwork and the finances and all the breed registrations, health certificates. She is the kind of person behind all the scenes that is getting all the logistical things done in order for us to even just get there in the first place. She is the hardest working person I know. And certainly I'm very grateful and thankful for all she does for me and this entire family, even outside of the goats. But with that, there's never a moment where I can just count on her to come out and help me, treat a goat or help me do whatever needs to be done here out on the farm. With that, I also have my father, Pat Pitlick, who definitely doesn't receive as much credit as he should around here, but that's the handyman of the operation. I tell you what, there's some days where I'm just not a good farm handyman, but that guy will fix anything and everything that needs to get done. Very reliable when it comes to getting chores done, and again helping me out. And with that, my sister too, Paige. Maybe the goats she doesn't live and breathe the goats like the rest of us do, but there's never a moment where I can't just ask her again to come out and help me with chores, or when it comes to showtime, she's always willing to pack her bags and wherever that show needs to go with that, and can always rely on her to stick the goat in the show ring and get the job done when it comes to presentation. I'd like to also give a quick thank you to my best friend and college roommate, Tanner Morrison. It's been a blessing meeting him through college and developing a very close relationship that we both have benefited on. And I tell you what, there's nobody that I trust better to get those goats looking the part on show day and sale day than Tanner Morrison. He's one that I believe is one of the best fitters in the country. And I guess I also forgot, Andy, to mention, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the Polzine family, Chris and Leslie Polzine from Polzine Cattle at Polzine Embryo Center out in western Minnesota. I was able to intern with them during my college years, and I was able to install core principles and exceptional practical knowledge when it comes to flushing and IVF in these donors. Yes, it was in cattle, but there's a lot of correlated things that we can kind of incorporate into our goats. And we definitely did tweak a few things when it came to our protocols. And we are reaping the benefits when it comes to now. And I just like to thank them for everything their family has done for not only me, but our entire family too. I look at them as mentors today. And I'm definitely, like I said, thankful for that opportunity that they took me in for an entire summer. That all that knowledge and that day-to-day experience is irreplaceable.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, we gotta have those people, right, that get us there.
They set the foundation, and then it's up to you to kind of go with that knowledge. Is how I feel. You need good representative leaders to kind of help install, like I said, core principles, and then it's up to you to kind of take those to the next level.
Right, and you have taken those to the next level. You guys have had a couple successes and some defining moments that have helped you really just really take this thing to the next level. And if you would take a few minutes, tell us about some of those.
Yeah. So we're going to do a flashback here. It was our very first ET kid that was born in our place. Of course, the beginner's luck. We ended up having this big time paint doe that we ended up taking to Denver the following year. So she would have been just short of a yearling there. And I remember to this day, this was back when I was in junior high. Maybe have touched a set of clippers once or twice in my life. So definitely I didn't have the capability to get the job done that Denver trip, but we had a professional fitter help us out. He fitted up the goat, ended up showing it, ended up leading that doe. Her name was Painted Red. Painted Red ended up being the overall reserve champion full-blood doe out at Denver. And then 2 months prior to that in Louisville, she was the junior champion full-blood doe at the Nail there. So to have the ability to compete on a national basis like that, so new into breeding animals, is nothing short of pure luck. That just doesn't happen. Usually. And so, again, we were very thankful for that opportunity. But I tell you what, Andy, to have people come up to you right after that animal wins, asking if she's for sale or if you have embryos for sale, I don't know. There was something about that feeling that I'm just hooked on. And I'm addicted to that feeling of people wanting your animal after it wins. It's just something that, just gets me fired up. And that's why I'm getting up and working so hard every day and getting these goats kind of looking where they need to be, because I just really enjoy when people, take time out of their day and are interested in your livestock. I just think that speaks, immensely to your breeding program, to your management it just really is the icing on the cake for all your hard work that you do on a day-to-day basis, to have somebody appreciate your animal like that the same way you do. And with that, I think the second kind of defining moment is this all black, the coal-hided black Panther buck that's kind of the feature of our sale. When he was born all black, we were hoping he was just going to be something, because colored goats just seem to be, worth a tick more value than the traditionals at times, just because of the color. But as he kind of matured out and kind of filled into his stud buck skeleton, we are very, very excited for what he has in the future. He's kind of had his accolades in the showing already, being top 5 in his class at nationals. This past in 2019, he was the reserve yearling champion buck out at the 2020 National Western Stock Show there in Denver, which was a huge accolade for a colored buck like that. But we're definitely excited now, getting his first crop of kids on the ground, to keep incorporating him into our breeding program. And we're going all in on Black Panther and dang near breeding everything we have to him at our place. We just really love the skeletal quality, yet the color to boot that he's throwing into these kids.
Right, and we've got potential progeny by him selling here in the sale, the New Era online sale, May 24th, right?
That is completely correct. There's about 4 kids in that pick of the barn opportunity that are out of him. And then almost everything else on the sale are embryos, that he's crossed over. But most of the sale is kind of garnered around Black Panther, and that's kind of what we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Right. We'll get to those. We'll get to those individual lots here in just a minute. But tell us about you. You guys are obviously selling some really good stock and raising some really good stock. And what? Tell us a little bit about your customer service that you like to provide for these purchasers of you guys' animals.
My biggest thing growing up, like we were talking about earlier, Andy, having those few people to kind of mentor you and give you advice in a situation where you don't have a ton of experience in is definitely irreplaceable. I mean, it allows you to make huge jumps in raising livestock, even if you've never encountered it before, because you can rely on people that have. So I want to install that, and I have, and I want to keep incorporating that in our customer service aspect. I'm as transparent as the questions you ask. Whatever question you ask me, I will give you as straight of an answer that I can give you. I believe that there's nothing holding back. I want my customers to be more successful than me. The less I have to show and the more I can get these animals out and to show people's hands and them winning is, I think, beneficial for me and our customers. I want our customers to beat us on show day. If that happens, I feel like I have accomplished something. And so with that, the customer service, like I said before, I think transparency is key, and I'm not holding anything back. I will tell you everything that we do on a daily basis with each, stage of maturity, group of kids that we have, whatever that be. I can give you as much knowledge as I have, and I want you to succeed as much as possible.
Right. Well, that's great. Yeah. If you can't win it, why breed the one that does, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, we've got this sale, the New Era sale that is again on Willoughby Sales, that is ending on May 24th. But you've got an opportunity for people to see these kids. You're doing a pick of the barn, and we'll get to that. Well, you can talk about that. Talk about your pick of the barn, your lot one pick of the barn, and how can we see some of these kids that you're going to have out?
Yeah. So, Andy, kind of thinking about what can Pitlick Boer Goats do to set themselves apart from every single online sale that is on any of these webcast providers, whether it's Willoughby, SC, Stock Show Planet, Oklahoma Show Goats. How can Pitlick Boer Goats be different? And, thinking about that, we had big plans to go to the national A.B.G.A. national show the second week of June there. But we all know, with this whole COVID situation, that definitely put a detour in some plans. But we still wanted to offer up something unique, something different, again, something setting us apart. And we came up with this pick of the barn lot. With that, every single one of our ET kids born in December 2019 all the way through April 2020, there was 4 different sets of ET kids born during that time, 4 different groups. The winning bidder of this lot gets their pick of the entire barn. We are holding no kid back. And I wanted to do something different. And I personally am not the biggest fan of buying in these sales all the time, because I don't know exactly what the breeder is holding back at home. Did they bring their best goat here? Are they holding the top 3 at home and these goats still look good? But from being a livestock evaluator, from being a breeder, I want the best. I want the best that this breeder has to offer. Well, here's your chance to get in on the best that we have to offer. There is nothing, like I said, being held back. Every single kid is open for the pick of the barn lot. Now, I cannot promise after the sale all those kids will be for sale private treaty, But I am promising you, lot one, if you're the winning bidder, any kid is up for grabs. It all comes down to your livestock judging, your principles, and what you deem is the right goat for you. Now, with that, I think in our pick of the barn, we have some unique, trendy, and certainly different style goats that we can try to appeal to a bunch of different markets. And I think we definitely have a breeding piece, a foundational show prospect that can garner your attention. We have a black percentage doe, a dappled female. We have some full-blood doe kids, a big-time stud buck that was born in December. You can see all the photos, and there's a link to the video on the Willoughby sale. But if you're still not convinced and need to see these goats with the naked eye, like I always do when I want to, get the next great one, want to buy the best one, I need to see them in person. Well, you'll have this opportunity here. Open house is welcome all week. We are opening our barn. You can come in anytime. That's not your style, or we're too far away up in the Great White North. I understand you. We are coming down south. We will come to you. This weekend, there are 3 A.B.G.A shows in Muskogee, Oklahoma. I think I pronounced that right. Dang Northerner. But there are 3 shows in Muskogee, Oklahoma, like I said, this weekend, and we will be taking what we deem our top tier AT set down there. We're making the trip, and we're going to be showing them all weekend. And with that, we plan to stay in Oklahoma through Sunday night after the sale to help answer any questions, chat on the phone, or, if the potential winning bidder is kind of in that down south area or on our trip back north from Oklahoma to Minnesota, it's easy transport delivery as well. So our plan, like I said before, I'll repeat, we will be hauling a group down to Oklahoma and staying around the Oklahoma area till after our sale.
Do you know exactly how many you're going to take down there?
Yeah, we are making the trip with 5. So 4 embryo transfer March babies that will be with their recent moms, and then a December buckling that we think is pretty cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you want to talk about a few of those in that lot one pick?
You bet. Would definitely love to talk about them. I think one that kind of gravitates to a lot of people that have visited the farm already is that black percentage doe that is kind of the feature, the first photo there of our lot one pick of the barn. Just seeing her silhouette there from the side, built perfect. And then if you get in and study her video, one that's extremely cocky up front in the way she gets out and motors around the pen, one that's just dead level. She pulls herself together on the move. And you can't say that about a lot of livestock. Some like to fall apart there on the move. Well, she actually pulled herself together. And that one's built from genetic royalty, being sired by Black Panther or Black Buck. But the dam side, the maternal qualities is just second to none. That's a doe that the Polzine family there in western Minnesota, they ended up buying that doe from us, the dam to this one. She won the Iowa-Minnesota State Fair last year for us. She has over 280 show points to her record. She is backed by the national champion from 2016 and a class winner from that same year. So the maternal qualities behind this black female are second to none. And, a lot of people like to go with the sire as, passing all the qualities. I'm quite the opposite. I'm a firm believer that we need to have a strong maternal base with a variety of genetics within our donor battery. And then we can kind of plug and chug with the bucks that we're going to use to them to see what crosses best. But I'm a firm believer that it all starts with the maternal traits, the maternal qualities, and you just need a donor pen that has all those kind of attributes equipped there right next to them. And with that, I think, we're excited too. We're excited to kind of take the step up in our spotted game with that dappled female. That's kind of the next prospect featured on our lot one. Here's a female that you can appreciate from the photo and the video, but until you actually get your hands on her, I don't think you can fully captivate her quality for a colored animal. One that is just grooved up like a hog and just fills your hand with so much product there in her rack and loin and into her lower leg. This is a female that's extremely stout through her front end alignment, but yet still youthful and attractive there out of her shoulder and up into her neck and head. A female that we set out, we ended up buying her dam from Pitlick Boer Goats out in Indiana there, and we ended up taking her to Ohio then, or excuse me, we ended up taking her to Sandy Ridge Boars there and flushing her to Ruger's Evolution, my favorite spotted buck in the entire country. That Ruger's Evolution kids have been high sellers in numerous sales, and just he stamps them with consistency and quality. There hasn't been a kid that has been advertised on Just A.B.G.A's Facebook page that I just haven't, been all in on. I just really like the set that buck likes to throw, and so it was a no-brainer to take our lead spotted donor out to his place and get her flushed to him. And you can just see the product here, and this is kind of what we envisioned our dappled program to kind of entail, and we wanted to get behind and make these colored goats great. And I think we have an awfully big time prospect here, also in our lot 1 potential pick of the barn. I'd also like to quick mention that buck kid, if we just keep kind of scrolling to the right in our chronological order on Willoughby, he's a traditional buck kid born in December of 2019. He's bred a tick different than what our first 2 goats are, but again, that's kind of our what we feel. We feel genetic diversity is key in trying to appeal to a diverse set of buyers. We feel you just kind of got to have a bunch of different potential products in order for all these various buyers. So this buck kid, I think he's extremely unique in the way how big racked and loin he is. But I think you get one shot of behind him, and you're just wowed with how stout hipped and big-legged, deep-twisted this buck kid is at this stage in the game. Personally, I have not raised a bigger-butted, deeper twisted buck as a 5-month-old than this guy right here. We think if he's not the pick of the barn, he might stay in and be a stud service here at our place. We really like the intangibles he has to offer at this stage in the game and his maturity curve. I think that's an awfully big-time prospect, and again, I think he'll have his fair share of favorites down in Oklahoma when we get them in front of people. Mm-hmm. I would last like to talk about this kind of black traditional-headed female. She'd be the 4th kid on our potential pick of the barn offering. If you keep scrolling to the right there in the photos, this may be the best doe kid in the whole set. Unfortunately, she is an April 1st baby, the very last ET kid that was born at our place this year. But, that definitely doesn't take away from her quality at all. No doubt she is the levelest topped, squarest hip female of that entire set. You take one look at her video as she struts out. It was a long day of picturing for a 6-week-old. Yeah. So she was about had it by the time we had the video, but you can really see her get out and go next to her recent mother. And this is one that just struts her stuff. And she knows that she is cool out there. One that just, you can almost tell her clubby in the way that she's built. She is just so good up front. No extra leather up there. I mean, just choke-necked, really tucked up in her chest, yet stout-made, big-footed, wide. But I think her shoulder on back is just so hard to make in these goats. To keep them level-made, that tail cranked up high, that tail set cranked up high, square-hipped. But the most important thing is just keeping them sound on their feet and legs with all that kind of, cool and unique build to them. I think that's the hardest, breeding piece to make, is to keep these animals sound yet good looking. And there's no doubt in my mind that this girl checks all those boxes. And like I said, I would not be surprised at all if another month or two down the road, this is the best female of that set. I like that one quite a bit. She is big time good. And like all four of those that I had just mentioned will be making the trip to Oklahoma.
Right. And if they're not in Oklahoma, also if you are listening to the podcast and not watching the podcast video, where else, Nick, can they go see some of these videos? Because I've seen them and they are, I encourage everybody to go look at these videos, especially if you can't see them on foot.
So it's pretty easy, actually, not being very technologically savvy like myself. My girlfriend, A.B.G.A, was able to help us out and get all these videos uploaded to YouTube. We have our own channel, Pitlick Boer Goats. You can find all the videos on there. Our Facebook page, Pitlick Boer Goats, we've been blasting and advertising a bunch of things, have the live link to not only the YouTube, but also our Willoughby sales, online sale. And so, you can, like I said, go to YouTube, or if you go to Willoughby, there's live links to all videos of most of the lots that we have a video on. So there's a couple different ways that you guys can access these videos. And if not, I'm a simple text message or phone call away to reach me at as well.
Right, yeah, and if you're watching the podcast video here, why we'll do our best to show you all those as well. So a lot of different ways that you guys can see these goats, and I got to commend you guys on your videos and the way you guys have these goats ready to go, and just excited for you guys, and be able to see them in Oklahoma, and sure somebody calls and you can stop along the way as well, correct?
That is exactly right. And, to be honest with you, Andy, we already have one or two stops already planned out to have people kind of look at our set on our way down to Oklahoma. So, again, anything that we can do to help these buyers be assured that this is what they want to do, please reach out. I want to do my best to assure you, yes, this is what you want to do, or no, maybe that's not exactly what you were looking for. I think that's a huge, again, customer service. And I've been in your shoes, so I want to help the buyers out in any way that I can. So anything that we can do, please, holler out at us, and we will try our best to work something out.
Right. Well, that sounds great. Yeah. Hey, Nick, tell us about the rest of these. You got a couple more lots in this sale, some semen, some embryos, some different things there. You've got about 13 lots of those and different things. So if you would just kind of walk us through some of those lots and tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, you bet, Andy. Again, kind of playing off that lot one, we wanted to set our online sale. We want to set ourselves apart from every other online sale with that. I think we did that with lot one, but this lot two offering, I think, is another unique aspect of Pitlick Boer Goats, a new era online sale. We are offering the chance to breed a donor to Black Panther for an embryo transfer flush. With that, we will take on the doe 3 weeks ahead of the flush to ensure, she's acclimated to the environment and give us the maximal chance of success. We will redo any unsuccessful flush less than 5 fertile embryos. That's our word. But I tell you what, whatever eggs are made, Black Panther will fertilize them. From the double-digit donors we have flushed to him over the last year, I can count on one hand how many unfertile embryos we have had. And so with that, I assure what is made will be fertilized in reason there. And that's, like we said, we will redo any unsuccessful flush less than 5 fertile embryos. But I think that is something else that is unique. How many times are you able to go take a donor to one of these big-time stud bucks places and have the chance to get, a pile of embryos out of their leading genetics, out of their, big time thought after animals. I just think it's a unique opportunity, and I can promise you that we will not be offering any more outside donors to flush to Black Panther after the sale, because we're going to keep flushing as many donors we have to him as we can. So I can assure you we will not be letting any more outside donors here for this unique opportunity. And with that, I think. Oh, go ahead.
You talked a little bit about his success and things. If you would just hit on that just real quick again on some of the success of Black Panther.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we feel skeletal quality is the number one attribute when you're evaluating livestock judging. This guy has it all in terms of a skeletal build. It just so happens he comes in a coal black package like he does, and we think that is the unique thing about him. He was the the top 5 placing animal in his class at the A.B.G.A National Show this past summer in 2019. He was the Iowa State Fair overall reserve champion buck in 2019. But most notably, he was the 2020 National Western Stock Show yearling reserve champion buck. And again, like we talked about, to have a colored buck be able to compete at one of the elite stock shows throughout the country, we think is real cool, and certainly excited for his breeding potential here in our program.
You've got some other pictures there on this lot too, if they're on Willoughby sales. What else do we have here?
Yeah, so the first 3 pictures there on Willoughby's are all pictures of Black Panther there. Mm-hmm. The first one was taken at our place there, and then the next 2 were at Denver. And then the sire and dam are also included there after Black Panther. So that's just given all the people kind of a representative of the genetic base that Black Panther comes from. And then we also have at the end there a couple kids that he's sired to give an example of how he's improving the next generation like he is. We are certainly, again, excited with the quality that he is stamping consistently on his first set of ET kids, and certainly look forward to the future and what else he can produce. And we can kind of, that's kind of a lead in here for later on down the sale here, when you have your opportunity to improve the next generation with breedings that we, envisioned for working into our program. But with having such a successful flush here in April, we have decided to offer some of these embryos, up for sale for other people to help entice and help, generate some talk and help, promote our genetics and Black Panther throughout the country. And so we feel real high on a lot of these matings here later on in the sale. And like I said, if we didn't have such a successful flush here in April, most of these breedings would not be for sale, especially the 3 dappled crosses we have in lots 4, 5, and 6. All 3 of those donors I selected, and after seeing them in person, knew we needed them to incorporate into our colored program to take us to the level we want to go. So all 3 of these donors, like I said, were hand selected by me, and we bought all 3 of them from various people throughout the country. But I just want to specifically talk about this I'm a Knockout Lot 4, the black and white spotted doe, one that catches your eye right away because of her color, having that kind of black, white, and vanilla kind of tri-calico blend to her. But with that, I think you get in and study her more, and one that's real good up through her front end. She's tucked up in her chest, big-footed, but yet so clean and fresh from her blade forward there. Good in terms of her center body, real broody, but just still tracking on a sound set of feet and legs. And I think crossed over the Black Panther buck, you're certainly excited to see those kids pop out, because I don't think any of us had any idea, what potential markings those kids could have. So I definitely think that's part of the fun, seeing some of these kids born is what color are they going to come out? and especially when you can know that they're backed by quality colored goats, I think can, assure you that you certainly want to have these embryos on your shopping cart.
Right.
We get into that lot 5 set of embryos there, and right away, I know, Andy, you kind of pointed out that doe hits you extremely hard in terms of her photo.
She
and
is
I think
so
you're
cool.
Exactly,
she is so cool.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, one that you can't pick a hole in. Like I said, we went out and hand selected that doe out at Kendrick Miller's place, and if you missed it, she already has a set of kids. This donor already has a set of kids on the ground in March, and she is actually the donor dam to that dappled doe we are advertising in our lot 1 potential pick of the barn. So you already can see that she is a proven female that is capable of making that next generation of show prospects. And we think, crossed up over Black Panther, kind of get her a tick taller in terms of her blade, top side of her blade from the ground. We can kind of mass her out a bit. We're real excited to make these colored goats great again, and certainly excited for the potential that this mate has to offer. The lot 5 donor dam, she would be a half sibling to the great black and white spotted buck and A.B.G.A kingpin ennobled. So we certainly wanted to incorporate her genetics back over Black Panther, the all black Panther, and certainly try and see if we can make the next great black dappled buck like Kingpin was in her lineage.
Awesome. She is so cool. I know I said that, but she's awesome. I like her.
We like her quite a bit too. And another female that we do like is this lot 6. I know I'm just kind of going in chronological order, but I think these 3 embryo lots, colored lots, are very, very high quality, and they're kind of that top tier if you're looking to kind of take that big leap into your show prospect pen. I think you definitely need to look into these embryos, and lot 6 is no slouch herself. This dappled female actually was selected as the overall grand champion full-blood doe at the 2019 Minnesota State Fair, where Cooper Bounds was the judge there. I know a lot of people know who Cooper Bounds was, and he just thought this doe was immaculate, and she won the show quite easily. It's a female. I'll kind of just sum up the footnotes real quick. Her biggest attribute is being extremely stout in terms of her chest width, but yet it's her touch and tone that she has at the top side of her skeleton when you get in and feel her. She's just grooved up like a hog. Just so much product and mass there into her rack and loin, but yet being extremely stout-hipped and big-legged. Those are the 3 intangibles, the 3 qualities that worked extremely, extremely well on Black Panther this past cross that the kids are on the ground now. So we really believe that this might be another home run mating, as this donor carries a lot of the quality attributes of the donor dams that worked real well on Black Panther with the kids on the ground in this past March. So again, we're really high on this lot 6 embryo mating. We think something real big can come out of that. And with that, all 3 of these donors flushed in that 6 to 18 mark. Knock out what she flushed 6 in April, but this lot 5 and lot 6 female both flushed 15 plus embryos. So certainly they come from a fertile maternal line as well. And I think that is, an extra little side note that certainly might help convince a potential buyer to get in on these embryos, knowing that they come from a fertile genetic line.
Right. Good deal. Yeah, the lot 7, that's a Black Panther, some semen straws there.
That is correct. Yep. And this is the first time we are letting go of straws of semen on Black Panther. This is, like I said, this is the first time we've been advertising semen sales before. Just, people haven't seen quite the same value that we saw in the straws of semen until, I think these kids have gotten on the ground. But these are the first straws that we are going to be letting go of, and we don't plan on letting go of too many more straws of semen on Black Panther.
Cool. Why don't you roll on and finish? We got some more lots here, some more embryo lots and things.
Yeah, so if full blood isn't your kind of thing and you're more looking on the percentage side of things, I certainly think you need to look in at lot 9, that embryo mating. That donor dam home from college, she actually is just coming off of winning the Minnesota State Fair 4-H show for the Aarons family in Owatonna, Minnesota. She was a co-high selling doe for us in the 2018 Dakota Land Fall Harvest Sale that the Aarons family bought from us and trusted in our program. And, to say that doe worked out for them, I think would be an understatement. She ended up coming here in April and flushing 26 fertilized embryos to Black Panther, just knocked it out of the park. So I think the unique and cool part about her is she is actually a full sib to that PF08 something to talk about doe that the Polzines bought from us and won the Iowa and Minnesota State Fair open shows last year. And so with that being, we can do the math real quick. These embryos would be 3/4 sibs to that black percentage doe we're advertising in our lot 1 pick of the barn. So if you fell in love with her, but she's maybe a tick out of your price range, I certainly would get in on some of these embryos to potentially make your own black percentage female. Like I said, I think this is Black Panther over home from college's flushmate sister is probably the deepest and most consistent set out of our March 2020 ET kid crop. So you definitely, in my opinion, cannot go wrong with this set of embryos here. Just quality with some color to boot for sure.
We got a couple other embryo lots here to kind of finish things up.
Yeah, there's a couple, full blood embryos here, and then a percentage embryo to kind of wrap things up for our sale. But that definitely doesn't mean that the quality isn't there, even though they're at the end of our sale. That PF08 wild berry donor placed top 10 in her class both years at nationals in 2018 and 2019, and is a direct daughter of that PF08 painted red and noble female that I touched on was kind of our first success story. So many years ago at Louisville and at Denver there. So she would be a direct descendant of that matriarch of our operation. And again, crossed over Black Panther. I just think you can expect quality and you can expect color throughout that set. And I'd also like to touch on that's something to talk about right on the money percentage embryo lot there, lot 12. The right on the money buck, the sire of these embryos, was a class winner at the 2018 national A.B.G.A. national show for the Deemer family there in Iowa, and crossed over what we feel is our most prolific percentage donor, that PF08, something to talk about that the Polzines bought from us. You saw what she produced there in our lot 1. Crossed up a tick different, but, definitely we think, you can expect quality, traditional, big-time percentage kids to go out and compete for your family there. And then we just wanted to wrap up. There's actually 2 lots of this V contender semen throughout the sale. And this is an intriguing spotted buck that if you like the photo, you should definitely go and look at his video. A spotted buck that was placed 7th in his class at the 2019 A.B.G.A. national class in the 0 to 3. Last summer, he was the highest placing dappled goat within that class. And he's one that, if you're looking to make these spotted goats stouter up front or from behind and want a bigger leg, you definitely need to look in on this guy. I think those are a couple attributes that he certainly rises to the top in. One that's extremely pulled apart in his chest, stout coming out of his hip, and has an incredible amount of product there into his leg. I just don't think you can go wrong there with a spotted buck like that.
Yeah, and you got a video there on your YouTube, right, of this guy?
That is correct. All video, his video is on YouTube, or there's a link right on the Willoughby sale lot there, and I definitely don't think you will be disappointed at all.
Yeah, that's if you're not watching the podcast video that we're making here. So yeah, we'll get that got that on there as well. So, well, Nick, man, I've been trying to decide whether I'm going to say this or not, but I'm not a huge goat guy. I think they have their place, and I think they're all right. But I'm just not a huge goat guy. But man, uh, you've almost got me wanting to get in the goat business. Uh, like I said, I don't know if I ought to say that or not, but these things are so cool, and I just really appreciate the passion that you have, and you could just hear it. And I knew it when I first talked to you. I was talking to Brandy, and she says, "Well, how's this one going to go?" And I said, this guy is so passionate, and you can just tell he loves what he does, and I just really appreciate what you've told us about these goats and about the program and all those different things. And just I can tell the passion that you guys have. And man, I hope if they're just listening to this podcast that they'll get on and they'll look at these goats and just see the wow factor in these goats and just how cool they are.
Andy, I just wanted to say this. I wanted to say thank you for this opportunity that you gave us. I still remember that big long text message you sent me. I was just like, oh, crap. What is this? Is this just one of those political advertisements there? But, after reading more, I thought this might be a very, very cool opportunity for us to kind of get out there. And, again, after chatting with you, Andy, I knew that this was something that we needed to take advantage of, and certainly appreciate everything that you've done for us today. But there is nothing more that I love than going out and working with these goats. Like I said, what started out as a 4-H project's kind of gotten a bit out of control, but it definitely hasn't taken away the passion that I have for these goats and helping out other people. I think kind of get to where we were at. I think that's the biggest thing, is just helping out other people with the learning curve, and with that, providing a great experience for these kids or other breeders throughout the country, I think is kind of what we believe in. And just super excited about this set that we have acquired here for May 24th.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, May 24th, Willoughby Sales, Pitlick Boer Goats, a new era. Online sale there again, closing out on May 24th. And say they buy the pick of the lot, and are you going to let them come in later if they've got one or two that maybe they like, but maybe they want to look at some of the others? Will that be all right as well?
Yeah.
On this pick of the barn?
No, that's a great question, Andy, and I'm glad we can straighten it out here. If you on the special terms and conditions on that lot 1, it says right there that the buyer is responsible for pickup and shipping by June 7th, 2020. So our sale's May 24th. That gives you, 2+ weeks to come out to our place, look at everything there, and, take your time to really evaluate these animals, because we understand, this is hopefully going to be a big investment for a breeding operation or a program throughout the country. And we understand it might take a little time to get up to us in Minnesota, but we will work with you in every power that we can and make sure that you are making the right decision for your program. That is for sure.
All right, yeah, but if they want, can they take those when you've got them down in Oklahoma? Could they meet you guys as well with those?
That's right. They can take it if one of the goats that they want is on an Oklahoma trip. They can take it right then and there if they're the winning bidder as well too. You bet.
All right. Well, that's great. Yeah, Nick, again, just appreciate your time and appreciate you going through these goats and explaining these. And guys, if you're in Oklahoma this weekend, make sure that you look these guys up and go check these goats out. Just meet Nick, and I never met him in person, but man, just to talk to him, you can just tell what a great guy and the passion that he has, and going to be a future vet. That touches a place with me. So I really appreciate that and admire that. So Nick, anything else you want to tell us about this sale or anything about the program before we wrap this thing up?
I'll just finish with this, Andy. Never did I ever think that color was going to be our main focus, and nor do I want to steer towards color being our focus. I want to steer towards quality being our focus. skeletal build and how they stand and track at the ground, working up into their body and build, and how they come out the top side of their shoulder, their top line, their squareness in terms of their body. I think that is what we strive ourselves on. We strive ourselves on skeletal build and quality, and then it just so happens that some of these prospects are coming up in a colored package like they are. So again, I just want to focus. We're not breeding for color. We are breeding for quality, and not only show prospects, but animals that will go and reap benefits for their owners in the breeding pen as well. I think we pride ourselves on great maternal traits and genetics as well. And so I just wanted to finish off with that about quality and maternal traits.
Just want to wish you guys luck on this sale, and want to invite everybody go on Willoughby Sales, Pitlick Boer Goats, a new era online sale, May 24th. See them in Oklahoma this weekend if you're around there. And Nick, again, just want to thank you again for being a guest here on Before the Bid podcast.
Thank you very much, Andy. I tell you what, I know we had some fun this morning chatting it up. So thank you again for this opportunity you have given us.
Right. Well, I appreciate it very much. And we want to thank you for listening to another edition of Before the Bid podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.